welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're talking about buying your home for the first time. If you have any questions, you can give us a call here at 613-728-1001. And now we're going to talk about hot colors for the year. Spring, pink is what you're saying is in?
Well, apparently the in color here is purple, but when it comes to your house, if you're selling, I know it's a first-time home buyer, but if you're selling, keep it neutral and make sure your colors are in the art and the pillows and stuff like that. Purple walls has not been well received by the buyers.
And it always, according to Paul's show there, sectional, right?
Yeah,
sectional. Let's have a sectional. That's mandatory.
Good call. Yeah, sectionals are good. That's good.
So one thing I like to ask about is, so once you find the home that you want to buy, you're in love with, how does putting an offer? Where do you go from there?
Sure. Well, what we do is we go back to our office or your home or wherever, and we put down the offer. We go through the comparables to the area, similar square footage, similar options. Hardwood, not hardwood. Where's the school? Is this a busy street? Is it not? So once we go through all that and do our adjustments, so to speak, we'll put the offer together that's weighted in your favor, that has you protected, and then we're going to submit that offer. When we submit that offer, I'm going to call the other agent. It's going to be a courtesy call, letting them know an offer is coming out. Every offer comes with what's called an irrevocable. You don't just submit an offer and it sits there forever. You submit an offer whether you give them 4 hours, 8 hours, and if they don't respond by then, it just becomes null and void, right? There has to be an endpoint to it. So once we do that, we provide the offer to them. They have the irrevocable. The other agent will sit down and discuss it with them, and they can either accept it, they can reject it, or they can counteroffer. And if they counteroffer and they come back, then I propose that counteroffer to our clients, and typically we've come out with an idea at this point of where you want to end up. I think that's normal, but you have to keep in mind that you're not buying a car, right? So going in to get a car, it's a depreciating asset. You say, I'm not going to pay more for this. And once you get to that line, you can have that line, but essentially, if you're within the realm, if you're like a couple of grand off, the best way it was described to me by Paul Rushforth. He said to me, he says, when we negotiate, we want to win. But when it comes to real estate, the only way that you win is if you get the home that you want. If you're a couple of grand apart, or if you're $1,000 apart and you absolutely love it and the other people are ready to walk, well, maybe for a couple of bucks on your mortgage or 80 cents or whatever it is, maybe you want to take it. But when we get to that point where one of us is about to walk, then we'll come to a decision as to whether we want to meet in the middle or not. But it basically goes back and forth, and we never counteroffer anything without the approval of the buyer.
Right. And that's where it comes in handy, not getting the max, going for the max of your mortgage, so you have that room too.
Exactly. You're within yourself range for sure. But the lure of getting, spending that amount is often very difficult for today's first-time home buyer.
No, I agree. And my experience when we bought our house, 2008, our mortgage lender was saying at the time the houses were selling before they were even getting listed. They were just being bought up. So we had our pre-approval, and they were trying to get us to bump it up. And we kind of just held back, and I said no. But that's something that you should know your limits of what you're able to do, and not just go up to the max.
Home ownership is great. I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, when it comes to renting versus buying, it's literally going to cost you less because you're overpaying. Because you have to cover the person's mortgage, you have to cover their taxes, you have to cover their insurance on the rent, and then you're going to be paying your own utilities. So I mean, essentially, if you know what it's like you're also buying your own food at this point. You have your own car, you're paying your own gas. So I mean, why not own it and make money on it every month? I mean, if you go over a 10-year average, homes are making on average anywhere between $800 and $1,100 a month just by living there. So I mean, but that's a 10-year average. We're at a bit of a low peak, but you'll do great. People, if you have the opportunity to buy, you really should.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you read a lot in the paper, just because I'm always reading the financial stuff anyways, but there's always people that are saying, don't buy home as an investment. Don't buy home, it's not an investment. But when you look at the numbers, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, the house value is constantly going up, especially in Ottawa. It's a stable kind of area. And, I pay the rent to somebody else, pay someone else more than you can pay for your own. So.
Well, I read an article the other day. 71% of the world's billionaires are billionaires because of real estate.
Yeah,
pretty good investment.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So, I mean, a situation that happens in the process of putting in the offers, multiple offers. So,
Yeah.
we find a home that I want, put an offer, we find it's a very
Yeah, so less than half of the homes sell, which would sort of tell you that there's not a lot of multiple offers, but the good ones always go first.
Yeah.
And the good ones always have the multiple offer scenario, right? So if there's a multiple offer, there are some people and some lenders that'll say, walk away from a multiple offer. I don't consider a multiple offer and a bidding war to be the same thing. A multiple offer is when you're notified by the listing agent that there's another offer in play or more than one offer in play. You put your best foot forward at that point for what you're willing to go to, and essentially the best offer will take it. The only way that would come back is if they're tied, right? Essentially. There's four things that they're going to be looking at. Obviously the price, but the closing date is going to matter. Inclusions, exclusions, those are the items in the home that you're asking for, and the conditions. So that's a multiple offer scenario. You don't necessarily want to overpay for the home, but in many instances, you could be setting the market. Maybe you're not overpaying for the home. So if you're setting the market, then that's fine. If you're planning on staying there for 5 to 10 years, then that's okay. But just make sure, like I said, human nature is that we want to win. Right? Just make sure you know when to walk away. Because walking away is okay too.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's always other homes.
There's always another home around the corner. I mean, every week you say, geez, did you see that home? That was beautiful. Geez, did you see that home? That was beautiful. There's always one right around the corner. It's not meant to be. It's not meant to be.
Perfect. So we actually have a caller in. We have Brian online. Hi, Brian. Go ahead.
Hi. Good name, Brian. I have a question, especially for first home buyers coming in looking at my house. We've had appraisers come in and look at the house, especially realtors come in and giving you a price of what your house is worth. Now the difficulty gets in is when they come in, there's no comps right now in my area. I don't even know if I can give you that, wherever the area is. It's in the Queensway Terrace North area.
Okay.
Okay, and so what's happening here is when you look up the house, there's no comps. So when the realtor comes in and he looks at the house, it's showing well, everything is more than done in this house, and they give you a comp. Well, they're looking at comps that are 3 bedrooms. Well, this is a 4-bedroom with a garage. All the rest of these are old, sort of older army houses that are 3-bedroom and no garage. You got the side streets that back into that Queensway extension thing going on, and all that's there. Like we're close to schools. Everything's positive here, but when you try to nail down a realtor to give you a comp, you can't get an exact price. And then when a new home buyer comes in and he said, he's thinking of making an offer, how does he do that when the bank says, where's an agreeable price? Like, what's the bottom line here?
Now, you said you had an appraisal done from a bank?
No, we just had, the realtors come in and give you free appraisals.
Yes. Yes, and they don't have any comps.
No.
So I mean, that's pretty tough. If that's the case, I mean, if the first-time home buyer has a real estate agent and there's no comparables, there has to be some type of comparable that's around there.
There is a comparable, and if you know the area, it's on the other side of the road, the other side of Queensway.
Yep.
And the other side of Queensway, there's a 4-bedroom with a 1 garage, but it's in the 70s. Like, this house is, and we're both on the market at the same price, let's say, because they're the only comparable. Well, I'm bringing myself down to compete with him.
Yeah, well, and you know what? It's a really tough market. Like I was saying, I mean, we have 3 to 1 listings for sale right now, so you're in a tough market. Aside from that, what I would do is if I brought someone in, I would find some homes in the area that sold that aren't necessarily great comparables to yours, and then we do what's called adjustments. And I would have to adjust for the extra bedroom in your area. I mean, obviously, I don't know where your house is. I don't have the comps in front of me, but is that extra bedroom going to be an extra $5,000 or an extra $25,000 in value? What type of hardwood do you have? What kind of, and we would base it on that. We would do square footage. We try and come up with a square footage. So there's a way that you can do it a little bit forensically. But aside from that, I mean, like my father always said to me before I got into sales, it's worth what someone's willing to pay for it in the end.
Yeah.
And a first-time home buyer, if they don't have a lot of comps, they might get cold feet pretty quick for a first-time home buyer. For a savvy buyer, someone who's bought before, someone who's owned before, they'll have a pretty good feel for it. But
sorry, Brian, we're running out of time. So I hope you got your question answered there, Brian. Thanks for calling in.
Okay.
Thanks.
So basically, it's just kind of opinion, right? Of what,
Yeah, I mean, you do the adjustments. There may not be an exact one, but you can get there.
All right, perfect. So I want to thank you for joining us tonight. I want to thank Brian Eustace for coming here and sharing his knowledge. If you want to get a hold of him, you can reach him at 613-788-2122.